Hello, everyone. This is Jared Pixley from Pixley for President again. So, as during the week, I was considering two different videos to do because there was two major stories in the news. First one, and one I am still working on because the story is still developing, is on Venezuela. The second is on ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. So, I guess some background to get started. So, the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement was created in 2003 following the September 11th attacks. It absorbed the Immigration and Naturalization Services and the United States Customs Service, or at least it absorbed parts of those agencies into one and was put under the Department of Homeland Security. So they are tasked with criminal investigations, enforcing immigration laws, preserving national security, and protecting public safety. And the main thing I want to talk about today is how they are failing that. So, in previous years, specifically in the end of the Biden administration, they had a budget of about $9.9 billion a year. So just shy of $10 billion. And in 2024, they deported some 685,000 people. That was a 10-year high. So that was the last year of Biden's administration, so that means they deported more people that year than Trump did during any year during his first term, and more than the last couple years of Obama. Of course, Obama's numbers were also pretty higher than George H.W. Bush before him. So, now under Trump's big bill allocates $170 billion to ICE over a 4-year period. And a lot of people throw around that $170 billion a year. They miss that is actually over 4 years, not over a single year. So they only get $42.5 billion a year, assuming an equal split. Just for comparison, the FBI has a budget of $11.3 billion. So they are getting almost 4 times as much money as the FBI. They're getting more money than any other law enforcement agency. Now, with all that money, how well are they doing? I'm not sure. I cannot find any solid numbers. I did find one report which stated through the end of August they had deported about 200,000 people during 2024. However, less than a month later, about 3 weeks later, they said that they had deported over 600,000 people. That means in the period of 3 weeks, they deported 400,000 people, which I find hard to believe. But as we've seen, we can't really trust what this administration tells us. They're frequently exaggerating, if not outright lying. Or they just, like the jobs reports, they just refuse to say because they know it'll make them look bad. So they have they have 4 times as much money as they used to, and they can't beat the previous administration's numbers. Now, on top of that, how are they failing us? As I've mentioned in my book, as I've shared on social media, the countless attacks they have made on American citizens. I believe there's a report I just read which cited in 2025 there were, I believe, 38 violent attacks against U.S. citizens, including multiple shootings. It mentioned, I cannot remember what city it was in, but a woman was shot 5 times, and they have text messages of the agents bragging about how, the one agent saying he shot her 5 times, yet she had 7 holes in her. So 2 of the wounds were probably through and through, entry and exit wounds. One woman went on a talk show showing the bullet hole in her upper arm from where ICE had shot her. So are they protecting public safety? No, they're an active threat to public safety. They've also deported U.S. citizens. One man, I would have to look up his name again. It is, to be honest, a foreign-sounding name. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be racist, but as you can see, I'm white, so anything not, British is foreign-sounding to me. Then again, half of British is also foreign-sounding to me. If it's not John Smith, it's foreign-sounding to me. But no, I believe the man had a Hispanic name. He's actually been deported from the U.S. twice, even though he is a natural-born U.S. citizen. Only one of those instances do they actually blame the Trump administration for. They do not cite what year he was deported the first time, if it was also in 2025, or if it was accidentally by a previous administration. There's the mother that was picked up with her 2 children. One was an infant, one I believe was a toddler, 3 or 4 years old. I could be wrong about the age, but this is all from memory. But a woman picked up with her 2 children. They were both natural-born American citizens. Her husband is a natural-born American citizen. They deported her and her 2 kids. They refused to let her call her husband to come pick up her kids. So this is all unacceptable behavior. I'd say criminal. As I discussed in my book, Pixley for President, in the 3rd edition update, which should be available any day now. I would want, if elected, I would hold, Kristi Noem, the names, I do have the names of all the different people in there, including the head of ICE. I'd hold all these people accountable, criminally accountable for this abuse of power, kidnapping American citizens, violating due process, violating the rule of law, deporting people without, judicial permission, deporting people in the case of Abrego Garcia, in violation of court orders. Abrego Garcia had a court order from an immigration court stating he could not be deported. He had judicial protection, yet the administration violated that. They basically said F you to all the judges that had overseen his case. Not only he had the previous protection when he was picked up and to be deported again, a judge had a stay order, saying that they could not deport him or anyone else until they had a chance to see the judge. And in the middle of the night, ICE put all these people on a plane and flew them to a prison, in Central America. Once again, in violation of a court order. a court order they had just got that day. So these people need to be held accountable. These people need to be brought before a judge and tried for these criminal actions, blatant criminal violations of their job. But the capstone, the final straw in this, which prompted me to do this video today, is yesterday. An ICE agent shot a woman named Renee Good in Minneapolis. She was driving her car. She had stopped. I believe they say that she was waving another car to pass her. An ICE agent walked up and shot her while she was in the driver's seat. Shot her in the head and killed her. Various posts sharing the picture of the agent. There's videotape of the entire incident. Multiple videotapes. Multiple videos, since no one uses tape anymore. And in one, people do identify the agent. Allegedly, his name is Steve Grove. I can't confirm it. I haven't had a chance to question him. I mean, who am I to question anyone? To see what his ID really says. But witnesses have identified him as Steve Grove. Homeland Security and ICE, Kristi Noem, they're claiming that the woman was attacking an ICE agent, that he was fearful for his life, and that the agent went to the hospital for wounds he sustained in the attack. However, the video footage shows that he was not in any danger. She was not attacking him. He approached her and shot her. He has sustained no injury. In fact, the agents stayed around there. They prevented a doctor from going to see the woman in her car. There's video of a doctor approaching, identifying himself as a physician, and asking to see the patient, and they forced him away. And then they blocked the ambulance that reported to the scene. They blocked emergency personnel, emergency responders from getting to the car. So he was standing around walking for 15 minutes after the incident. Obviously, he was not wounded and did not need to go to the hospital. But the mayor of Minneapolis stated that, the federal government is impeding their criminal investigation against this man for murder. And so he is on my list. If he is not prosecuted by the time I take office, hopefully I'll take office, I will see that he is prosecuted for murder, because that is what this is. And I've seen the videos. I can't think of any other thing to describe it as. It's flat out cold-blooded murder. And I believe all these people need to be held accountable, from the top down. So I am working on building a list. Day one when I take office, here's the pink slips. Kick all these people out of ICE. And start call a grand jury to session and start presenting cases. Get all the people indicted that we can. Now, a lot of people are calling for to completely defund ICE, to abolish it. I don't think it should be abolished. Definitely we need to clean house. Everyone who, pretty much everyone who's signed up since Trump took office, I'm sure there's some good ones, but, some good people that have, that were just looking for jobs, but the bulk of them, all the Jan 6ers, I think that's one thing to do. Day one when I take office, background checks on everyone. If they had been arrested for Jan 6, they're fired. I think that would be a good start to clearing house. Then, as I say in my book, one of my first executive orders is banning face masks and enforcing name tags, so that way everyone's clearly identifiable. So none of this, well, this guy just committed a crime, but who is he? I don't know, he's wearing a face mask. No name tag. Change that. If you see a cop, you see the face and you see the name, that way you know they are a cop, not someone in disguise trying to commit a crime. I'm sure once I impose that rule, a lot of these people who are just there to abuse power will quit. I didn't even go into some of the other stuff that ICE has allegedly done. There's a long list of crimes. I mentioned the violent ones, the attacks, the shootings, but a lot more stuff is going on in the detention centers that needs to be taken care of too. But ICE is designed to do a job, and we want them to do their job properly. Biden focused on looking for the worst criminals, the violent criminals that are coming in. The immigrants that we don't want. Now, immigration is good. I am for immigration. I think our immigration system needs to be reformed. But I'm against illegal immigration, and I'm against the violent criminals sneaking into our country. So, but he focused on keeping the gang members, the drug smugglers, the human traffickers, trying to keep them out. That is good. That is protecting the American citizens. But the people who are there trying to work, the groups of day laborers at Home Depot, the farm laborers. Now, I wish they were here legally, and I know some of them are. And even the ones that are here legally are getting deported as well. Though I know some of them aren't here legally. But just the mass deportations without due process is unacceptable. And that's what I want to fix. So, yeah. This video is a bit of a bummer. It's a harsh reality that we're in. I would have loved to do a more fun video about, the downsides of being a president, or why I won't play golf as president, or who the first lady could be if I became president. Something fun, lighthearted, But, we're seeing a harsh reality today. The people in Minneapolis are, in mourning. And ICE agents are kicking over the memorials that they've put up on the scene of the killing. So that I'm just here to reflect what's going on in the country. And I'm sure next week will also be a downer episode when I talk about, Venezuela, why, Maduro is a bad person, but we have no right to interfere. So, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, check my social media links in the channel description. My website is now accepting donations for my campaign fund. You can donate there. You can also find links to my book. The link will take you to the second edition. Third edition should be coming out. I'll probably have a new link for that next week. Thank you very much. Goodbye.